Welcome back to EDH Tutor, and today I wanted to go over some of the Innistrad Midnight Hunt spoilers, considering tomorrow is the start of the previews. So some people aren't going to be able to see those, so I might cover the content later. But yeah, I just wanted to go over some of the stuff that's already been spoiled that I'm already pretty hyped for. So we'll start with the Night token. Okay, so it says, as it becomes night, transform all day-bound permanents, and permanents enter the battlefield night-bound. And if a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day next turn. And then the flip side of that is day. As it becomes day, transform all night-bound permanents, and if a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. So this is probably where we're going to see a lot of... instead of just cards that transform on their own if no creature or no spells had been cast, it's going to be a lot of permanents. So we're probably going to see a lot of werewolves that are going to transfer over after that. And speaking of one, we've got Arlen the Pack's Hope, a Gruul Planeswalker, and she has Daybound, so this is her Daybound side. And her +1 is until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you cast enters with the battlefield. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. And then you can minus her to create 2 wolves. And then doesn't have a night side. But if I had to guess, considering there's a wolf on the art, 2 wolves on the art, and she's a pack leader, probably going to be a werewolf on the other side, taking advantage of +1/+1 counters and creatures. Maybe a sack outlet on the other side. I don't know. And we've got Sereth, the Viper's Fang, 4 mana for 3/4, and other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch, and other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. And then you can untap another target creature or land you control. So it can kind of, if you have a really good utility land, that last ability can really help you. It can pull up a blocker at any point, but it's interesting. Makes all attacking creatures essentially have Death Touch, and I think it can be used pretty interesting. Oh my gosh, it can be pretty interesting to say the least. I'm sorry if I'm struggling so bad. I have never seen some of these cards, and they're new to me, so I'm just trying to fully digest them. One card that I have seen, but this one we're on next, Wrenn and 7. So it's 5 mana for a Planeswalker, and I don't really care about all the abilities. That 0 is incredible. But we'll go to the uptick first. You reveal the top 4 cards of your library and put all land cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So you kind of filter through your deck and put lands into your hand. For a landfall deck, amazing. And then her 0 is you put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Now, I have an AC deck, or people with Tatiova decks. They're going to love this. They are going to absolutely love this. Sometimes you're sitting there with 4 lands in your hand, you're like, okay, I played my lands for turn, not really much to do. But if you 0, you could insta put down 4 lands. And honestly, I would withdraw playing my lands for turn, because with AC you can have an additional land, so I can just draw more later. And then you can make a green tree folk creature with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control with her minus. And then her -8, her ultimate, you return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand, and you get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. I don't think that's a green ability. That seems more like blue. And this is, if I remember correctly, this is already a green card. It's a sorcery that was in the commander deck for Innistrad, but it was of one type. So ultimate's great if you can fill your graveyard up with that plus ability, but I'm really hyped about that 0. Definitely going to be slotting that in AC. Another card I'm pretty excited for is Play with Fire. I don't play a lot of Standard, but Shock is pretty terrible. Shock is pretty terrible. But this the scry ability that's attached to play with fire can be very good. Because if I have 2 play with fires in my hand, I can essentially just pay 1 to scry 1 and just filter through possibly lands on top. I think that's a really good design of a card. I think it's really good. And I don't think it's better than Lightning Bolt because of that 1 less damage, but it's getting close. We're getting there. Infernal Grasp, incredible card. 2 mana to destroy a creature is better than the typical rate of murder is 3 at the loss of 2 life. So in standard might suck a little bit, but in EDH, incredible. Then we have Consider. You look at the top card. I think this was essentially the opt, but for Surveil. Yeah. So you look at the top card of your library, and you put that card into your graveyard, and you draw a card. I don't know why they didn't use the actual keyword for Surveil. You could just Surveil 1, and then draw 1. But then there's Champion of the Perished. This is a card I'm very excited to put in Varina, and I purchased both of the Commander decks coming out. And one of them looks to be a zombie tribal deck. So I'll have 2 copies of this, hopefully. And then I'm not even going to try to say that name. Triskadide Kaphile. Okay. 2 mana, and oh, that's a win con. So it's a 2 mana 1/3 and makes it to where you have no maximum hand size, already really good ability. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. That seems really easy. That seems really good. 4 mana to draw 1 is pretty bad, but that seems like a good card. I don't know if that's going to have any place in Standard because, no, yeah, it might. It might. I was thinking like you'd have to discard it at the end of your turn, but you don't have a maximum hand size. This is really, that's hard to gauge. I think 4 mana is really slowing it down, but that might be a cool little win con in EDH if you draw a lot of cards and can discard down to that 13 if you have too many cards. Then there's Join the Dance. I'm not excited about this card. This card's kind of... You pay 2 mana to create 2 1/1s, and then you can flashback it, whatever. And then we have these amazing showcase lands. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm hoping to get a play set of them for Corvold. Yeah, those are cool. Normal lands look whatever. I mean, the art's kind of cool, but nothing compared to the showcase. But, and then last but not least, I want to actually double click this one if I can. Okay, never mind. I guess not. So this is supposedly the face commander for Coven Counters. And her name is Leonor, Autumn Sovereign, 4 mana for an 0/4, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control, and then if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you draw a card. So, this isn't particularly crazy powerful, but I think it's something that white definitely needs. And that ability is going to be very easy to trigger. It's a 0/4, and this is kind of like Luminarch Aspirant, which is just the first half of that ability. So it's you're just putting a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, except with the added bonus of you get to draw, which feels a little crappy because Luminarch Aspirant or whatever is mono white, so the second they include green, I can draw cards now. So, a little sucky, but I think it's a cool card. I am very hyped about the deck. I'm interested to see what else is actually in the pre-con, because it's a full-powered one. So, it's not one of the lights for like Zendikar Rising, Commander Legends, or Kaldheim. That was the last one. It's like a full-powered one. It's got 30 new cards between the two decks, so 15 in each. So I'm honestly really excited for that. because I'm always hyped for new cards to come out in Commander, new treats to have, and Leonor, even if I don't use her as my face commander, I think she's really cool. I think it's a pretty good design because it's not busted. It's not crazy powerful. It's not going to lead to you getting focused down. It's just tiny incremental value. So I think she could be very powerful. And she's definitely going in almost every Selesnya deck, like, possible. Like, for sure. Just because that card draw is something that Selesnya and so many other white fixated decks, you know, typically struggle on, because they just run out of gas, and Daddy Mark Rosewater hasn't given us card draw yet, so we're stuck with, you know, kind of Harmonize and Secret Rendezvous to get our card draw going. But this is a really cool card. This was the card I was the most excited for and why I wanted to make this video. And when I actually do get the deck, I will go over all the cards in the deck, and when it spoils, I'll probably take another look at all the cards that were spoiled and previewed. But yeah, if you want to see more content like this where I just go over just random spoilers that are happening, or the previews, just let me know. And I know I'm kind of a mess sometimes. I struggle to speak. But if you like this content, please let me know. Yeah, thank you.